Y vamos a empezar con el trabajo de las bachiller Amairany Salas Trejo y Karla Medina Cetina. Ellas tienen un trabajo que presentarnos que se titula The Impact of Digital Content Creation in the Development of University Students' Listening Skill.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Today, my partner Karla, Medina, and I we are going to present our progress related to our research project called The Impact of Digital Content Creation in the Development of University Students' Listening Skills. And this project is led by teacher Maria Isabel Hernandez Romero. So let's start with the introduction. As a first point, we have the importance of observing and enriching the performance of teachers in modern education. Also, this project aims to achieve an academic impact and motivate teachers to improve their digital competence. Some empirical evidence has identified a shortage of teaching materials to improve listening skills, causing a low academic performance in students due to the lack of innovative activities that awaken the interest of the learners. In the same way, with this study, it is intended that teachers be able to identify the advantages that technology offers when it is used in the classroom and to know what is the effect that it has on the students for the acquisition of meaningful learning. Based on the previous information, our research can benefit teachers and students for creating new pedagogical strategies to achieve the goal. Here we have our objective, and the main objective of this research is to analyze the impact of digital content creation on the teaching of listening comprehension in English as a foreign language. Also, we have our hypothesis, and it is the competence in digital content creation will have an impact on the teaching of listening comprehension in English as a foreign language. Let's talk about literature review. In this section, we are going to talk about these three different sections. The first one is about digital competence frameworks and definition. The second section is about previous studies. And the last section is about technopedagogical design for content creation development. To carry out this project, we have consulted three different frameworks that talk about digital competence. The first one is UNESCO ICT Competence Framework for Teachers, which aims to guide teacher training on the proper use of ICT throughout the education system. The second one is ISTE, that is International Society for Technology in Education, which is for teachers and students. And the standards of this framework are for innovation in education. Finally, we have the last one, that is the Common Framework for Digital Competence of Teachers, and according to DEF 2017, is a reference framework for the diagnosis and improvement of the digital competence that teachers need to develop. For this research, we are going to work with the Common Digital Competence Framework for Teachers, because we consider that it has different points that are important for our research. I'm going to talk about the Common Digital Competence Framework for Teachers, and it is important to say that it is divided in 5 areas. The number one is information and data literacy. The second one is communication and collaboration. Then we have digital content creation, safety, and finally, problem solving. For this research, we are only work on the area of digital content creation, and it is also divided in 4 sub-areas. The first one is developing digital content creation, and the second one is integrating and elaborating digital content. The third one is programming, and the last one is copyright and licenses. We are only work in developing of digital content and copyright and licenses. For this research, we were looking for a previous study, and we found this, that is the effect of using type of instructional media on comprehension and motivation of Korean college students in an online course. This study was made by Jeong Joo Hyu, and it is an experimental design with quantitative data. The objective of this study is to motivate the use of strategies and resources where students are protagonists of the learning through the technological tools, in this case, video activity and audiogram. The instruments were surveys and in technopedagogical intervention. As part of the result, it was determined that using strategies that include technology, for example, text, image, videos, multimedia, is an opportunity to make the methodology more varied and active, which allow learning to have a better impact, which students develop. The second study is using digital stories to develop listening skills, and it is made by Faith Mehmet and Mehmet Gultenkin. It is a quasi-experimental design using a pretest and posted with experimental group. The objective is determine the impact of digital story on listening comprehension. As part of the instrument, we have observations, instructors' interview, and personal information. What about results? And in results, preliminary findings obtained from the observation show that students use their interest, concentration, and motivation increase substantially, and their listening comprehension skills developed during the listening activities. Now let's talk about our instructional design called Technopedagogical Design for the Content Creation Development. It is important to mention that it is supported by models ADDIE in Azure, and these instructional designs were the basis for the learning object and design, the object design that was proposed by research group CACED some years ago. For this presentation, for this technopedagogical design, we have an analysis of the educational context. In this part, we can find the information related to our participants. Then we have the technopedagogical training. In this part, we consider objective strategies, learning strategies, and learning activities, among others. Then we have development of digital content creation. In this case, it was a video activity in audiogram. And then we have implementation in the real context. In this part, the participants are going to present their digital content in their classes. And finally, we have a review and assessment. In this case, we're going to know what was the impact of this digital content that teachers or participants implemented in their classes. So now my partner, Karla Medina, is going to talk about the methodology of our research project.
Thank you. So as the next point, we have the methodology. This section is divided into 3 subsections, which are the participants who were part of the study, the instruments and materials used to carry out the intervention, and the procedure explained through the different steps for the development of the study. So as part of this methodology, we have that the design of this study is quantitative pre-experimental, specifically the pre-test and post-test design. An important aspect to mention is that in this design, a pre-treatment test is implemented and a post-test stimulus test is applied. To continue, as the objective of this study is to analyze the impact of digital content creation on the teaching of listening comprehension in the English language, the following figure represents the variables that we use for it. The variables used were dependent and independent. On the one hand, the dependent variables include the digital content creation and listening comprehension. These are dependent variables since one impacts the other. This means we want to know the impact of digital content creation on the development of listening comprehension. On the other hand, and in the independent variables, we have the treatment for development of digital content creation for listening comprehension in English language. Now, let's talk about the participants who were part of this study. The participants were two teachers with the students of the English 2 and English 2 subject and offered at the University of Quintana Roo. The participants selected for the study are part of the División de Ciencias Políticas y Humanidades of the university. And it is essential to mention that both teachers have taken courses related to digital competence and technology adoption. Despite this, both teachers possess a level of basic technological knowledge. Now we have the instruments. And among the instruments that we use for data collection, a semi-structured interview was developed. This is a representative image of our semi-structured interview. And this is represented as our pretest, which allows us to know about the digital competencies in the content creation of the selected participants. Here is our pretest. And the instrument is made of three main sections. The first section was designed to understand the context analysis of our participants. Next, we have the second section, was focused on digital content. And finally, the third section addressed copyright and licensing. On the other hand, the second instrument is presented through a pedagogical intervention, which function as the treatment of our research design. Here we have a representative image of our treatment. So a training course was developed on the development of digital content for listening comprehension in English. And the objective of the treatment was to analyze how systematic technopedagogical training will have an impact on the teaching of listening comprehension. And finally, the third instrument will correspond to the review and assessment and will be represented as our post-test. It will aim to detect the digital competition on post-treatment and content creation. And it is important to mention that this instrument is in process of elaboration. Then, we have the procedure and planning of the technopedagogical intervention that was carried out. So to do this, an intervention scheme consisting of 5 weeks was developed, as can be seen in the image. And in week number 1, the interview piloting or our pretest was carried out. In addition, the teachers were interviewed with the final format of our instrument. And based on the results, the context analysis was obtained. Then in week number 2, there is the instructional design for the development of digital content. And in week number 3, the technopedagogical training was carried out and consisting of 10 hours of work in collaboration with the teachers and 10 hours of work by the teachers, giving a total of 20 hours. Then we have the week number 4, and is the implementation in a real content. This means that the teachers teach a class with the digital content created. And finally, in the week number 5, we have the review and assessment, our post-test. The information can be summarized in the following 3 main stages. So in stage number 1, the semi-structured interview was analyzed in this stage to detect important aspects related to our main topic. Then in stage number 2, training for teachers was implemented to strengthen their technopedagogical skills and implement them in a real context. And finally, in stage number 3, the final interview, similar to a post-test, was analyzed to detect teachers' opinions regarding the development of the intervention. Now, I'm going to present you our pedagogical intervention. So based on the instructional design and the development of digital content creation for listening comprehension, a tecnopedagogical training entitled Desarrollo de Contenidos Digitales para la Comprensión Auditiva en Inglés was implemented. Its objective was for participants to develop digital content mediated by technology based on technopedagogical foundations for the teaching of listening comprehension in the English language. And to carry out the course and the instructional objective, the pedagogical strategies, the learning activities, the development of digital content, the adoption of licenses, and the adoption of a virtual learning environment were created according to a thematic unit of the syllabus and of the English 2 subject. And a relevant aspect to mention is that after finishing the treatment, the teachers saw their classes with the digital content created. So this is a representative image of our course. And to conclude, we will take a short tour of the virtual learning environment, in this case, Schoology, where we have captured the activities, the materials, and the resources that were used and developed during the training course. But before continuing, it is important to mention that the intervention took place from April 13 to April 16, and the sessions were carried out synchronously through the Zoom platform. So this is our training course, Desarrollo de Contenidos para la Comprensión Auditiva en Inglés. As we can see, the contents have been divided into different sections and sessions, and to facilitate access and search. So as the first section, we have access to virtual sessions in Zoom, where participants could find the links, schedules, and information to access the platform. Here we have the link, the schedules. Then there is a welcome video that we created, including general data of the course, such as the dates, the objective, and general and specific, the units, the topics, and the activities, the name of the facilitators, etc. As the third section, we have the tutorials about the Schoology platform, where participants could find videos to access the platform and submit and view the grades of their activities. Here is the first video. And we have the second video. So to continue, there is the consultation section in which participants could request and schedule their personalized consultations for any questions or clarifications. And as the fifth section, and there is the first perspective forum, in which the participants share their perspectives and opinions before taking the course, and their ideas and opinions on the importance of creating digital content in the teaching of listening comprehension in English. And the next section, the program of the course is attached, in which the participants could find general information about the course, as well as the activities, the units, the topics, and the materials and the evidence of each session. We have the information of each session. And now we can find the 4 sessions of the course. And before continuing, it is important to mention that each session is made up of different subsections. For example, information about the topic, tutorials, and basic reading, extra resources, and materials, etc. So we have the contextualization session, contextualización al curso, y puntos claves sobre la creación de contenido digital, in which the participants could find information about the contextualization and key points about the digital content created. And here we have some activities and information about the topic, some questions, some videos, visual resources to present the information, and some activities for the participants. And we have a section about basic readings to complement the information. Next, we have the session number 1, creación de contenido digital, desarrollo de contenido in audio, in which the development and production of an audiogram was carried out. And here we have an example of an audiogram. We have some questions about the digital content creation and the information of the topic, in this case about an audiogram. And we share different resources and platforms where participants can create their audiograms and some activities and the evidence of this session. And we have a folder with the tutorials and the evidence. Now we have the session number 2, creación de contenido digital, desarrollo de un video, in which the participants develop and produce a video, specifically a video activity. And here we have the information about the topic. We have some videos and information about different resources and tools and to create videos and tutorials and some activities. And we can find the tutorial and folder and the evidence of this session. Then we have the session number 3, derechos de autor y licencias, in which the participants learn about Creative Commons licenses and how to incorporate them in their digital content created to protect their intellectual property and that of others. And we have information about the Creative Commons licenses. We have some visual resources and activities and practice activities, tutorials. We have the evidence of this session and tutorials about how to use the Creative Commons licenses. And it is important to mention that each of the sessions, the participants have carried out an evidence on what they have learned. And our next section, we have the second perspective forum, in which the participants share how their perspective change after taking this course and how the creation of digital content, it is important for the teaching and the listening comprehension in English. And finally, we found the folder of remote sessions and recordings in which the videos of the 4 sessions were carried out in case the teachers have not been able to attend to any of the meetings or if they want to return to a topic. And this is our course. This is our training course on the creation of digital content and for the listening comprehension. And it has been all of our part. We hope that the information provided was the interest to you. So thank you so much for your attention.